Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Just Enough Heshy show. We were supposed to have an interesting guest, Mr. Ezra Friedlander, a lobbyist, a Democrat, a religious Hasidic Jew, and I got calls from all over. You can't have him on the show. He's a bad guy. And, you know, me and Ezra had a couple of fights in the past, and I also called him names. But, you know, really, Ezra is a neighbor, and we've become friends over the years. We have different political views on how to handle things, and he promised to be on the show. We waited all week. The assemblyman, the councilman made fun that me and him are going to argue on the radio. I even believe the assemblyman and councilman are listening for me to fight with Ezra, but Ezra didn't come. So instead, I have my co-host, the wonderful, smart, good-looking, intelligent, legal advisor, Ezra Levy. How are you?
I'm great, Heshy. You wanted two Ezras in this room?
I was going to have two Ezras.
No, it's one too many.
I was going to say Ezra G, the good looking, and he was going to be Ezra L, the liberal.
Okay.
You know, I spoke to our lawyer partner, Sarah Swilovich, you know,
Yes.
who was with us on the case when I was arrested. And she was telling me how the reporters came to our house for Shabbos. And they said, oh, you look familiar, because she brings a lot of people home for Shabbos.
Right.
And these were two modern reporters from Channel 4, whatever, not religious. And they said to her, you look familiar. She says, oh, yeah, I defended Heshy Tischler. And they said, oh, we are friends with Kornbluth. Yeah.
Of course, there you go. And there goes the show.
Yeah. Anyways, a shout out to my delicious, wonderful Sarah Swilovich and her beautiful baby Zevi, and my gorgeous granddaughters who are in the Bahamas, Mira Nava and Leila Tamar, and my son and daughter-in-law who just keep going on vacation every week. It looks like they're very rich. I don't know. Or they have my money. No, they don't.
I think they have your credit card.
Yeah, I don't know if they have my credit card. He's doing pretty good. But Ezra, how come we're not going to the Bahamas, you and me?
Because I don't have your credit card.
I saw that credit card hidden in your shoe today. You know what I mean? I almost got it.
Trust me, you'd be so disappointed.
We're going to start our show. I thought I'd have somebody to laugh at the joke, so I got to really try to do a good one this week for Ezra.
We'll try.
Last week you laughed.
Last week was funny.
Finally, you're in the game.
Once in a while.
I know. I hate you too. Okay. You're not getting your CFO, by the way. I have to help him with that.
Great.
He's a lawyer. He's going to sue me. Who doesn't sue me? Anyways, we have Ezra Levy. Attorney, oh, by the way, call into the show. What number do they call into the show?
646-974-1581. And tonight you could call us because we have no guests.
Right. Call into the show, 646-974-1581. My friend Moishe should call in too, because last week my son hung up on him. I don't know why. My friend of 40 years.
I don't think your son hung up on anyone.
Well, my son is going to post the number today. You're going to see the number to call into the show all day long. But in the meantime, we're going to post this number. Ezra Levy, attorney at law, specializing in criminal matters, including weapons possession, drug offenses, domestic violence, theft offenses, assaults, DWI, criminal and family court, order of protection defense. 917-755-1187. Ezra.
917-755-1187. Feel free to call me, text me, WhatsApp me, or you could email me at EzraLevy.lawfirm@gmail.com.
EzraLevywFirm@gmail.com. You know, you have a wonderful voice. I've been listeing to you lately. Very
I'm
nice.
trying. I'm
soothing. Is that when you speak to the criminals, you have to be nice to them and soothe them?
You're the only criminal I know.
I am. I hate you, Ezra, too. Anyways, he's starting to act like another woman. Anyways.
You will.
Ezra Levy, call him 917-755-1187. And if you want to call into the show tonight, guys, call in 646-974-1581. We still might get Ezra Friedlander, who we want to talk to. I have so much to talk to him about, whatever's happening. And, of course, we're going to talk about the big news. But we're going to first do the quote of the day, okay? After I hope the number is posted on there. But here's my quote. A wonderful quote I heard from Ronald Reagan. It's time that we ask ourselves, if we still know and understand the freedoms intended to us by the founding fathers, and if we will pass on these freedoms and ideas to our young people the freedoms that we knew in our youth, because freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. It has to be fought for and defended by each generation. You can't love your children too much. And let me tell you, he was right. Every generation, there's a way that they can take away our freedom. You saw in our own generation 2 years ago during COVID how they restricted us and took away our freedoms, took away our rights. Now, again, you people think I'm a COVID denier. Let me tell you something, and I'm going to repeat it to you again. at 59 years old, and Ezra in his 40s, 47,
49.
48, whatever you are.
I'm 40.
You're still a father, an uncle, a businessman, a lawyer, a smart, college-educated man, a man of the world, a man who's seen, and I'm sorry to say, death, hate, murder, people doing bad things. So you're not a dummy. You know how to run your life. So do I. When some idiot in the mayor's office or some governor who runs around with women tells us that we can't do something or has no evidence or has one loser doctor when 70, 100 other doctors told him no, no, no. And some Jewish doctor in Flatbush kept lying about Maimonides. And we kept going into it with pictures and videos. You know, every day I still get videos from hundreds of my fans telling me this doctor lied and this COVID is a lie. We understand what it is to take away freedom. You people forgot now that freedom is given back to you. It was just a little taste. They could take it away from us at any time again. They wanted to show you that they could do it. And Ezra, I'm scared that it could happen again. I'm going to keep fighting.
Well, it's already happening. I mean, it never stopped. I mean, they use a pandemic, which is a real pandemic. I'm not going to, let's not knock it.
Oh,
it was a real pandemic.
Well, pandemic around. You know, the people in China are now fighting back.
I know.
You know
And China's ridiculous, but a lot of people passed away. A lot of people got sick. I'm not saying it needed to be a lockdown.
We get sick every year.
You're right. You're right. But the thing is, there was a pandemic. They decided to lock down the country because they didn't know how to deal with it.
They could have given them a flu shot. Trust me.
They could have done many different things because none of the things that they did worked anyway.
Oh, we had ivermectin and all that. They worked
bottom
for the
line,
president.
yeah. Bottom line is that we gave up too many rights.
Bottom
because
line,
we didn't
they
fight.
took away.
You're right.
They took away, and you know what?
You're right. And they're doing it now.
And look at our community. We still had weddings. We still had schools open. We had our schools open. We didn't follow the rest of the world, and we stopped dying. We started to learn to take care of ourselves, and look what happened.
Right.
You can't take away freedoms. It's each person, each community, each brain to be done themselves. You want to be locked up. There's no mass death. There was no mass deaths. It was just a game. Even the funeral parlors, they kept the bodies outside. It was just because people didn't have money to pay and they were locked in their houses.
Okay, Heshy, I'm just gonna. This is where I disagree with you. I don't think it was as bad as they made it out to be because a lot of the deaths were not COVID related.
Exactly.
However, a lot of people I know, I've gone to their funerals, I went to their burials. Their only symptom was COVID.
Well, May, June, I think it was April, May, June that the numbers went up like by 25,000 per people. And after June already, boom, all the numbers went the same. And we kept saying it over and over. Anyways, listen to me. What happened? They're saying right now that you don't have what are they saying? You don't have to have the vaccine.
I'm not vaccinated.
If you have the vaccine, you can still get it.
Yeah.
You never got the vaccine.
I never got the vaccine.
And you never gave me the sickness, and I never gave you the sickness.
I got it twice before.
Okay, but again, nobody died. You didn't even come close to dying.
No, I didn't. Thank God.
Okay.
Thank God.
What? We have Ezra on the phone. Ezra Friedlander is calling in the phone. So before I pick up Ezra, I got to say my joke quickly because Ezra is going to be on the phone. Here's my joke real quickly. My wife told me that I don't love any of her relatives. I told her that's not true. I love your mother-in-law and father-in-law more.
Okay.
Here's my best story.
That's good.
Here's my best story. We were driving home. From Jersey one day, and we're driving through Jersey on a long trip. You know, these long roadways, and we saw an old lady walking right outside of the town of Lakewood, where we were coming from Lakewood back to New York. Mm-hmm. And we stopped. We said, "You need a ride?" She says, "Yes, I'm waiting to go on to the bus." And old Hungarian lady, and I said, "We're going to." My wife said, "I wasn't even talking. I was quiet. I was sitting in the back seat playing. It was late already from a wedding." So Linda was driving, and Linda pulled over and asked the lady to come in the car. And the lady said, "Sure." And she says, "I'll give you a ride." As they're driving, Linda started talking to her, but the lady was very quiet, didn't say anything back, and she kept looking out the window. Finally, the lady looks on the side of Linda, and she sees a little white bag. She says, "What's in the bag?" Linda says, it's a bag of chocolates for my husband." And she says, "Oh, that was a good trade." I was sitting right there. Okay, forget it. We have Ezra Friedlander on the phone. Put him through Avram Shlomi. Avram, our producer. We want to talk to this wonderful man that I introduced very nicely before, even though he doesn't believe I did because he didn't listen. Ezra?
Yeah, hi.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. You are now going to hear play-by-play how I get onto an airplane. Today was not my day. I missed my Amtrak down to Washington, got off at the wrong terminal here at LaGuardia, Uber wanted to throw me out because I was freaking out. Finally, I'm here at American and trying to check in.
Wow, Ezra, you're going to Washington again, and we know you're a very big time Democrat Washington lobbyist.
Stop right there. Not Democrat, not Republican, nonpartisan.
Oh, please,
not partisan.
You support every single Democratic candidate. You Hochul,
but he's not partisan.
Yeah, how could you?
But he's not partisan.
How can you be partisan if you support all these Democrats?
Hold on. Step back for a second. Here in New York City and New York State, 9 out of 10 times, the action is in the Democratic Party. Now, did I support Hochul? I absolutely did. Do I support Democrats most of the time? Probably. But do I support Democrats because I'm a partisan Democrat? The answer is no.
All right, so let's step back down.
And I don't want to use the line because I don't like the way it comes out. Some of my best friends are Republicans. You know, every anti-Semite uses that line. Some of my best friends are Jewish. But I'm not going to use that line. On some issues, I'm very conservative. On some issues, I'm very liberal in my personal life and in social life and business life, depending on which issue it is. But in my professional life, I represent my clients the way someone has an attorney, and the attorney has to represent their clients to the best of their ability. That's what I do.
Okay,
I'm gonna let Ezra.
From one lawyer to another.
Ezra,
from one lawyer to another.
I want to introduce you to our legal advisor. What?
Hold on, I'm looking for let me just go through the security. Let me go through the security.
You're going to do some security after this.
This is crazy. I've never conducted a radio show while checking out.
See, Ezra, you love me. People don't understand. They were all calling me all day long to scream at you, but I know you love me.
Why are they screaming at you?
Oh, they want me. I have questions to ask you like you never saw before.
So I have one question for you, from one lawyer to another, okay? I don't know who your clients are. And that's your
Ezra Levy, my co-host and a legal advisor. Go ahead.
And that's your business. I'm not asking you to reveal who your clients are, but you could understand that as a firm yid, we have issues that are very important to us, namely our children's education, and the government staying away from imposing their new, modern, regressive ways and mores on our community. The governor that you supported for re-election, actually first-time election, has shown that she has zero interest in supporting the same values of our community. So I'm not asking you to reveal who your clients are, but how do you justify supporting someone who stands against everything we do?
I disagree with that. This governor did not initiate any action or support any action detrimental to yeshivas.
No,
there's no.
She has oversight. She has oversight of the Board of Regents. She decided not to do anything.
She has zero oversight.
She has a lot of stuff. It's an executive. Administrative.
You're time out. You're entitled to your own opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts.
I've used that line many times before.
The Board of Regents is appointed collectively by the state legislature, Democrats and Republicans. Now, granted, there are a lot more Democrats than Republicans, so it's practically the assembly that nominates and confirms the Board of Regents. The governor has absolutely no role. How do I know this? Not because of the yeshiva issue, which I'm not involved with, because years ago, I had an issue with the state education department on behalf of a client, quote unquote, and I went to the governor at that time, Cuomo, and the governor said, I cannot do anything. I have zero to do with the State Board of Education. Now, they set the budget. Obviously, they set the budget, but they have no authorization. They have no oversight over the Board of Regents. That is a fact.
Well,
my opinion, that is a fact.
Okay, Ezra, so here's
Kathy Hochul had... For you to say that about Kathy Hochul is just factually wrong.
All I know is, Ezra, we do have this Yafed did get approval to teach sex education in our schools now, or the secular upgrade. I know your friend Kornbluth even called Mayor Adams on national television that I watched and posted.
I don't want you to mention anyone's name. I'm coming on the show.
Okay, but the mayor did not stop, and the Yafed program did get approval to help our secular sexual program.
I send my kids to yeshivas. No one's teaching that part of education.
Not yet.
It's
Not yet.
It's not going to be taught.
How can you be so
frankly,
sure?
How could you be
how
so
can you
sure,
be so
Ezra?
sure?
Because let me tell you, it won't be taught.
Wait a
And
second.
those-
No, you cannot say something like that.
If you're making this wild accusation,
I'm not making accusations. I'm not making accusations.
Don't say anything.
But I'm
Don't say
asking.
anything.
Wait. So excuse me. I'm allowed to ask you questions, and you're allowed to answer. Or refuse to answer.
You can ask me any question you want, but you cannot make a broad statement without a backup.
So you're telling me for a
Without
fact
backup.
that this will never happen, that we will never be forced to teach. Okay.
Correct. I'm telling you, it will never happen.
How
Yes.
can you
telling
guarantee
it will
us
never
this?
happen.
How can you guarantee us this?
The way you're saying that it's going to happen, the same way I'm saying.
Come
it's not
on,
going
Ezra.
to happen.
But you're fed.
we're trying
but
to
they
have an
passed
educa-
legislation. You're fed.
It's not education. They passed their guidelines.
They passed their guidelines.
Their guidelines did not include that. Their guidelines did not include that.
They didn't. It did include a lot of oversight over what the curriculums of
Correct,
yeshiva.
but it didn't include it. Now, I'm not here to defend or to attack. This is not my area of expertise. I'm not an advocate for the yeshivas. I don't represent the yeshivas. I don't have a yeshiva. I don't have a constituency. I'm here as a private businessman.
Mm-hmm.
I am a CEO of a company that does government relations, aka lobbying. I'm not a Jewish leader. So
But I disagree with you, Ezra. A lot of people look up to you. You make a lot of big events where people come to. I was just at one of your HASC events. I was at the BPJCC big event over there. You support a lot of our political. I mean, I was there watching you standing in Eichler's with Hochul next to her.
I supported Hochul, and I'm not.
But
I'm not
nobody would have
denying
come if not for you. You know that you're the one who made that event happen.
No, I actually did not make that event. I actually did not.
You
make
were
that
the man.
event.
You were the man.
And you're being you're
Facetious.
giving me too much credit. You know?
Okay,
I did
but
not-
I'm giving you a lot of credit because I believe But I have a question for you. Let's go off the topic. I want to talk to you because I know you're a lobbyist and you have to help. Like you said, you're a businessman and you will go wherever the buck is. But you are a religious Jew.
Time out. See, that's a very negative way
Why?
of portraying it. I don't know why do lobbyists have this
Why?
negative connotation attached
Why?
to them
Because
and
because
lawyers don't.
why? I think they've earned it. I hate to tell you that.
I
They've
have
earned
very-
that. They've earned the reputation. They've earned their reputation.
All my clients are public. I'm very proud of every client that I represent on the federal level, on the state level, on the city level. Very proud. I make no apologies for representing my clients.
Nor do you
Of
have
course
to.
not. You don't
Nor
have
do
to.
you have to.
You're a businessman like you. But Ezra, I want to ask you now as a Jew. I know you're a religious Jew. I know you're an honorable man. You help serve the community. You help poor people. You do a lot of good for the community. You know, you and I have
Hold on, going through security. Hold on. Sure. Going through security.
He's going through security. I hope you.
I'm literally going through TSA right now. Hold on, they're just taking him.
You see how good he is a lobbyist. He can do
Yes,
everything
okay.
at once. Ezra,
Wait for 1 second.
okay, but I want to ask him the question right now about abortion.
I don't think it makes a difference
Why?
because he's going to tell you his clients have nothing to do with that.
But
And in New York State, it makes no difference.
okay, well,
You could ask him. I mean, I don't think that's the issue. I think the bigger issue is crime in New York City. And the graft that Kathy Hochul
but you
takes.
see the way he says that there's never going to be sex in the schools, which I don't believe. You know,
I hope he's right. I mean,
hope
look,
he's
but
right. I think
I
he's
doubt
wrong.
it, but I hope he's right.
Well, okay, and again, he supported Kathy Hochul, and this is what the next question is for him on the abortion issue is that she not only, I mean, they must have been lobbyists for this abortion thing. It couldn't be that she just woke up
Well,
out
no,
of
the
the blue.
abortion's not an issue in New York State.
It is an issue.
No, it's not. Not New York State. It isn't. You could kill
overturned-
you could kill a baby until after birth.
You know,
in New
there's
York.
another state now yesterday that overturned.
We lost him.
We lost him.
Okay,
we
so
lost-
let's just. Okay, so I mean,
Who's on the hold? There was somebody on hold before. No, we lost him, or we can still get him. I think we lost him. Hold on a minute. He's going to get us back on the phone call with him.
So just a question.
see,
Just one
but you
thing. When
see
New York
what-
State.
I have a problem with Ezra. You know what my problem with Ezra?
With not me, the other
not
one?
you, the other
Okay.
Ezra. He straight out denied it, and I know, and you and I know that she pushed it. I know that he supported, as a religious Jew, that he supported Hochul for governor when her whole mantra is abortion.
Okay,
when
so
he
let-
shouldn't be supporting a candidate that supports
okay, so there's
abortion.
two things. Okay, let's two separate issues. I'm going to take the last one first, if I could. Okay.
Right. And then I want to talk about Trump.
Oh, that's
That's
fine.
what I wanted to bring up with him too.
That's fine. So let's take the last one first. Abortion and religion, right?
Yeah.
You're right. Any from Yid, any
Religious Jew.
Jew, religious Catholic, religious Muslim, religious anything, anyone who values human life should have moral objection to abortion on the ban.
And supporting that person.
And so
You
now,
don't always
that
have-
being said,
even
so-
though you're a lawyer, you took on cases that you weren't
I've taken on
supposed to.
cases. I've taken on
But
cases.
if you see a case,
I've
that's so,
right, first of all, there's a very big difference between a lobbyist and a defense attorney.
Right,
I'll justify. I don't take every civil.
you have to take
But,
an
no,
oath.
I don't have to take any case I don't want. But the thing is, I became a defense attorney because I don't trust government power.
Right.
So somebody has a state going against them, they're entitled to an attorney. If they could, when I was a public offender, I did cases whether you can afford it or not, whoever. But if they could afford my fees, and I don't charge crazy fees, and you know that, I'll represent you. I'm not there to give a moral
Guidance,
judgment, and I'm not judging Ezra. I'm not judging Mr.
But I am judging Ezra.
What I'm telling, but the difference is, when it comes to, I don't take every civil case that's offered to me. I refuse 90% of them because I just don't.
You talking to
agree
me
with them.
now?
Ezra, you're back on. Ezra,
Yeah.
I want before I lose you, get one question. As a religious Jew, and Hochul, which supported abortion, which gave an extra 35 million, or was it billion? I don't even know, to give abortions to people from out of our state. You are morally obligated, and don't say no, as a religious Jew, to be against abortion whatsoever. So the candidate that you supported is morally against your own views.
Okay, let me answer that question. I don't believe for 1 minute that the laws would have been changed had Lee Zeldin been elected.
I agree with you.
But
I agree with you.
And he said it publicly. But let me move.
But the funding
let me answer
wait,
your question.
Ezra, one
Let
thing.
me
Wait a
answer-
second.
let me an-
One thing you're right. The laws
Let
would
me
have been
answer-
changed.
let me
No,
answer
the laws would have
let
been
me
changed.
answer the question.
I will, but
me
just let me
answer-
clarify something first. The laws,
Yeah.
Lee Zeldin made it very clear he couldn't change the law, but the funding for it was a different question.
Let me finish what I'm saying. First of all, whatever he said, she said, is not relevant because he's not the governor. He won't be the governor, and even if he was the governor, he would have a Democratic legislature, and that wouldn't be his main issue. But let me answer the question more succinctly, more direct. When you engage or support someone, it's not a zero-sum game. It's not I support you because I'm in love with you, or you're a disaster and you're a threat to humanity. Unfortunately, that's the way this game is played in our community, and it is wrong.
No, it's not.
And it is
That's where I
utterly-
disagree.
let me finish.
That's where I
Let
disagree
me-
with you. That's
No,
where I
yeah, let
disagree
me
with
finish.
you.
I'll let you talk, and it takes me 30 seconds, and then
Go
you can refute
Go
me.
ahead.
It is utterly wrong because there are multiple times in a day that not Ezra Friedlander, because I am not an Oscan, I am not a Jewish leader, but it is these individuals who sometimes get attacked. They go to bat for the community on issues that you know about and on issues that you don't know about. And government oftentimes, is the only answer, and they are receptive to us. And we're a community that has umpteen amount of demands, large and small. So for you or anyone else to condemn someone because they supported Kathy Hochul because of one issue, as important as that issue may or may not be, that is wrong.
Okay.
Now, you are not a posek for everyone.
No, I'm
There are
not.
Gedalim- be quiet, let me finish. There are certain Gedalim who made that a litmus test. And people who belong to those Kehilas or to those Rebbes have an obligation to listen to them. But we don't live in a shtetl where there's a Rav of a community. We live in a city of 1 million plus Jews. No one has the right to dictate to anyone else what that person may or not do.
Sure,
Because that person-
as a
wait,
Jew,
so-
as
no,
a
wait,
Jew.
so- wait, so-
Oh, minute, Ezra,
You're
you did it. You did your
not
thing.
letting me talk.
I
Let
am.
me
You
make
are
my
because
case.
you made a false comment.
No,
As a
I'm
Jew,
not
I
making a
cannot take my wife and daughter or granddaughter or daughter-in-law to take an abortion. I can't. Don't tell me that I'm allowed to. I can't.
The abortion of abortion is sometimes abortion is necessary.
Correct.
Now, obviously, we are. Be quiet. Let me finish. Abortion. We are a pro-life community, absolutely. But there are instances where abortion is mandated, not only allowed but mandated. Therefore, we are therefore abortion. I'm not a Rav. I'm not going to say it should be legal or not legal. But I guarantee you that you will find many Rabbanim who will say that abortion should be legal in several cases.
The only case,
no.
the only wait a second,
Listen,
Ezra, the only,
you cannot have a blanket legislation.
I agree with you. Look, I don't think abortion's the issue on this matter. It wasn't the issue in this election.
Agree with you. Why are you even raising this issue?
I'm making it an issue. I'm making it a moral issue, Ezra, because when I fight, I mean, you and I had a private conversation, and I told you I want to run for office, and you said, no, Heshy, you don't run for office because you do a lot behind the scenes. And you're right, but I don't agree with a lot of these politicians, and whoever you're telling me that these politicians are needed to fight for us, we can replace them with the right politicians who are morally right and morally right.
I don't support you, Heshy, because I think our community is blessed with the best representation we can get. Simcha Felder is dynamite, so is Simcha Eichenstein, so is Kalman Yeager. They have a difficult job to do. Do you think it's easy for Felder and Eichenstein in Albany? We talk, we demand, but we expect them to create miracles every day. Do we stand by these elected officials and say, Simcha, what you do, we do? No, we don't expect them. We gang up on them, not with all of them, but sometimes we gang up on them and we demand. And if they don't come to bat, suddenly they're the worst things on planet Earth.
That's right,
we
Ezra.
We don't give
Ezra,
people
you see, Ezra,
the right time of day.
I love the way you talk. But first of all, Simcha Felder hasn't been in Albany in 2 years. But let's just
he's a good man.
Okay, good man. He's a good man who hasn't done his job.
I don't know where he is, but he's doing a good job.
He's doing a good job by never showing up and nobody knows him and call his office. But I want to get to I know you talked to him. You have to let me finish, Ezra. You have to let me finish. And I'm happy you brought that up. That I'm no good for to be a candidate. My question to you is, here we go, Ezra. You live right next to me. I mean, my neighborhood. We're in the same area. We go through the same stores, the same people, the same everything. You're telling me that of all the issues that, and you and I see a lot of poor people, a lot of people struggling, a lot of people don't have beds. You and I had to connect on it. You're telling me things are better now than 2 years ago? Things are worse. People are struggling. Girls on the street. Drugs all over our community that we're not doing anything about.
So who are you blaming that for?
I'm blaming your politicians that have the power. Wait, you didn't let me finish. You asked me a question. I'm blaming your politicians for only bringing in 20,000 for postpartum depression when our neighborhood got 47,000. I'm blaming you. I'm blaming you, Ezra, because we have 2 youth centers and 1 drug center when most communities have 10 or 15 all over the place.
Please. Our community has the resources and our elected officials bring us the resources that most communities don't have. And let me ask you a question. Who do you think is giving us those resources? It's the politicians that you don't like. It's the politicians that you don't support. So maybe we're not getting it because you don't support those elected officials.
Stop it. What resources are we getting? Ezra, besides Masbia getting...
Level, social services, security...
What security? Stop it. You gave $5,000 for every small synagogue. Only the big synagogues or the big organizations got more money. Wait a minute. Special needs kids. I want to talk to you because you're the money man. Special needs kids get $15.
Organizations that provide services for special needs.
Oh, what are you talking about? OHEL and Women's League? You get... But it's the big ones. What about the little, Ezra, what about the little ones like us that I have people in my office or little teachers who get $15 instead of the $115 like all the big synagogues that you gave the money to?
You're throwing out numbers and you're throwing out accusations.
I'm telling you fact, Ezra.
It's very difficult. It's, you're sitting in front of a mic and you're making an accusation and you're the accuser. You're the judge, you're the jury, you're the executioner.
I'm asking the professional. You're the one who's teaching me.
I am not here to defend anyone. You ask me, I am telling you that there's a system in place. And when I'm a lobbyist or when someone's a community leader or an askin or an executive of a Jewish organization, they have a moral obligation to engage with elected officials.
Okay.
And for you or anyone else to throw out these accusations, how could you support A when A supports something that we don't stand with?
Right.
Let me ask this: when you call your plumber to fix your toilet, you don't ask your plumber, why are you putting your hands in the schmutz? You don't say that.
Okay,
You understand that this is a necessary part of the
all
job.
right, so-
And you know what? When you represent clients, sometimes you have to do things that you find objectionable.
Not me.
Yes.
Not me.
Yes.
Not me.
Yes.
Not me. Never.
Okay, so
It's
Ezra,
very comfortable. You could sit
Ezra,
on a fancy couch
can I
and
interrupt?
sit and pontificate.
Can I
and talk
interrupt?
like you're the governor of the, but you don't get the job done. And someone called me today. Just to give you an illustration,
I've never failed in my job.
Let me finish my point. Someone called me today, said my uncle's brother-in-law is stuck in Antwerp, became a day late. Could you call Chuck Schumer? I said, oh. And this person is a very kanoyetic rabbinical family. I said, do you have a letter, a hatchet that I call Chuck Schumer? You're the one that says it's usher. She started laughing. That's the problem I have. The hypocrisy. All of you that sit and pontificate and attack everyone.
Wait a second.
To do their
Okay.
job, and then
No,
suddenly,
this
when
is-
you need something,
This is going off the rails, my
But
friend.
Ezra, I want my Ezra to ask you a question, but I agree with you. I do that every day. People knock me, holler at me in my building department, my job, my HPD, and you know what? I don't want to help them. I don't want to support them. They didn't come out for me. And you know what? When they come into my office and their buildings are shut down, or the yeshivas are shut down, or their shuls are closed that none of my politicians helped open up, I stand up and I go fight for them. When they closed our parks, why did I cut it and not be scared to jail when none of your politicians, and don't tell me they did, came out till after I came out, after I came and fought?
You were a populist. Yes, you did very well for yourself then. But the park was going to be open the following Monday.
No, it was, it was not. Stop it. Ezra, not only was it not open, it still wasn't open for another 2 months.
Okay,
yes,
all right.
he came to stop it. They
this
kept
goes
the
on to-
park.
all right,
I kept fighting with
Heshy.
the Parks Department for another month.
Heshy, Ezra, I have a question for you. Very simple, okay? Again, we have different political views. I understand you represent clients' interests. I do that as well as an attorney. However, okay, you do come from a community that's affected by, you come in a locality also in the city, that crime's rampant everywhere, including in our good neighborhoods, which are not that safe anymore. I also agree with engaging with politicians. We need to do that, especially we're a minority with a large voice politically. We should take advantage of it. But what is wrong with engaging? Why are you endorsing politicians instead of just speaking to both of them? That's the problem with lobbying. That's why people have a problem with lobbyists.
I'll tell you, very good question. Let me answer the question. When I work with an elected official, like I worked with Kathy Hochul, and I see that there's a receptive ear in the governor's office, simple. That wasn't even difficult for me, because of course I want to see that person reelected. Or right now, in this case, elected.
Elected for the first time.
For the first time, yes. There was no brainer. And
A no-brainer?
It was absolutely a no-brainer. Kathy Hochul, by the way.
You're telling me Lee Zeldin was not competent to?
No, I never said that. By the way, Lee Zeldin is an honorable person.
But you just said it was a no-brainer.
It was I'll tell you why it was a no-brainer.
Because of the numbers in New York?
First of all, even on the crime issue, do you know that it was Governor Hochul who kept the budget, would delay the budget to get modifications? Not enough.
There was no modification. I'm telling you, as a criminal defense attorney, those modifications were bogus. Okay, they did nothing. They did zilch. It was window dressing. I'm telling you that as a practitioner.
I'm not a lawyer, so I'm not.
But I am.
I'm not going to debate you that.
Okay.
The governor is an extremely fine person.
I'm not questioning her. I'm not questioning her type of person. I'm just asking you a simple question.
Chief executive.
She's not effective. She hasn't done anything. But that's beside the point. You're entitled to your opinion.
I have nothing against Lee Zeldin. He is an honorable person, and I worked with him when he was in the House on issues. And I liked the person when he got elected to the state senate. I got to know him when he got elected to Congress. We kept up. I work with Republicans and Democrats. I'm going to Washington. I work very closely with Republicans
Okay.
and with conservative Republicans, and guess what? Even with right wing Republicans, I work with everyone.
I'm glad to hear that. My questions to you is very simple. Again,
Yeah.
Was your decision to endorse Kathy Hochul based on the fact that New York is about 2-1, just generic numbers, 2-1 Democrat to Republican. Now, basically, she won the election before it started, just based on numbers, and you just made it, and you made a business decision.
Look. I'm not going to deny the fact that was part of the equation. It was part of the calculation that I thought you can get elected. Absolutely, of course, that was part of the. I'm not on a suicide mission. But again, if I didn't believe that she deserved my support, I would not have supported her. Let me tell you something about Ezra Friedlander, which most people don't know. When Tom Suozzi was running against Elliot Spitzer in the primary for governor, I was the only one to support Tom Suozzi because I didn't like Elliot Spitzer. I had a run-in with him between his 2 runs for AG.
Okay.
I sometimes go with the underdog. I don't have a problem going with the underdog.
Yeah, but basically, it was 2 Democrats running in a primary. You could always change your vote. You could change your endorsement
Suozzi,
later on.
But Tom Suozzi had no chance of winning. That was
We know that, but the thing is, it's not here than there. Once Spitzer's was one, you had it was no brainer for you then also. I was just asking you very simple.
You're not listening. I didn't support Elliot Spitzer for governor. I supported Tom. You don't remember Tom Suozzi?
I do remember.
He ran against him in the Democratic primary for governor.
And he had no chance of winning.
Correct. And I still supported Suozzi. Now, you asked me if part of my calculation in supporting Hochul was because of the fact that I thought she would win. And I answered, I think honestly, the answer is yes.
You would.
That's what I'm trying to explain to people
I understand
in our community. That we should support the winner. We have to be strategic. We have to be strategic.
So it's a strategic decision. So it's not necessarily.
Correct.
So because I'm trying to give you. You and I. We could get along probably if we didn't discuss politics, but you and I have very different political views, and you and I also have different views. We do. I think we do. But we also. So maybe we do. But then Ezra, you and I don't agree on what we should represent.
I'm a businessman like you're, not as wealthy as you, but I believe that when I do a job or when I help people, I want to be morally right. I protect my people no matter what, and I won't go with the evil politician because I believed Hochul was just a aftermath or a layover of Cuomo, and I never liked Cuomo. As you know, he had me arrested as well with your buddy Blasio. But I believe Hochul has not made any changes, and you're telling me she's a beginner. Okay, we'll give her. She's elected now. We'll give her another year. But Ezra, I want to ask you a question. Serious question. Cashless bail, which Lee Zeldin said he would stop and Hochul not. What is your opinion on that? Ezra? I guess security again.
No, look,
cashless bail.
I mean, look, I think.
Yeah. Well, cashless bail. I want to hear your story on cashless bail.
My story?
Yeah. What's your opinion?
I don't have a story. Cashless bail. Of course we have to totally redo that law. Absolutely.
Okay, but the thing is,
but Hochul says no.
You have
Hochul said it's good.
So I'm assuming, given your clientele and the interest that they have, you probably you could tell me I'm wrong. You support Heastie, and you would support Stuart Cousins, and you would support Hochul. Am I correct?
No. You see, you're getting it all wrong.
Okay.
Going back to the same premise like we did before.
So okay.
I'll explain to you my position, and it's very, very simple. I am not in a position to revamp the laws. I am not in a position to critique the law, to interpret the law. That has nothing to do with me. I am a small-time / lobbyist. That means when I go and represent my client, I have to do my fiduciary responsibility, and that is to ensure that when someone pays me a fee, I try to deliver what I promise to do.
Understood.
That means that I have to, government has to be willing to at least listen.
They have to be receptive to you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Those are the words.
Fine. So they have to be receptive.
Now,
so I'm asking you in being receptive to you, right? You've made your contacts over the years, and it's easier. It would behoove you and your clients. It would behoove you and your clients that those who are in power that you're built a relationship with stay in power.
No. It would be. Let me tell you. You'll understand this better. When you go in front of a judge, I don't know what type of attorney you are.
I do criminal defense mostly and other practices.
You're doing criminal defense. If you do trials, you're going in front of a judge. And if you have a problem with what the judge ruled in a different case, you're not getting up and banging on and saying, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, before I start, let me make something very clear. Your Honor, I disagree with your decision of X, Y, and Z, and A, B, C, and D, E, F.
Okay.
I just want to let you know because I am now standing in front of you, so everyone who's listening should understand that the only reason
it's not here or there. I'm just asking you a question. Ezra, just answer the question directly. I'd ask you if you answer the question.
Right.
Do you have it? Do you have a vested interest, or for the benefit of your clients and therefore yourself, if those who are already entrenched in power stay in power?
No. That's not what I said. No.
You said that before. You said that Yeager, Felder, and Eichenstein.
The way you're phrasing it makes it sound very underhanded. No.
Well, that's a problem. That's a problem most Americans have with lobbyists. It's not a knock on you specifically. It's not a knock on you specifically.
No. Let me finish what I'm saying. When Andrew Cuomo ran for re-election, I didn't take a public stance. I didn't particularly care for the guy. I didn't particularly care for the people he was surrounding himself with, so I did not endorse him.
But you were there a lot. You were there with him a lot. We've seen a lot of pictures with you and him.
No, actually not. Actually, I kept my mouth shut. I happen to like Kathy Hochul as a person, and I happen to like her as a governor too. I didn't like Andrew Cuomo, and if you ask people who know me, they'll confirm that. But I keep my mouth shut. Yes, of course I kept my mouth shut because he was the governor and I'm a nobody. Generally speaking, I don't get involved in campaigns. And even with the Kathy Hochul campaign, I was not involved. I wasn't paid. I wasn't an advisor. I wasn't even involved.
You were very involved walking around when she came in. I saw you. I saw videos with you being with her and taking her around.
It was one event or two events during the whole duration. I don't make apologies. I would have attended 10 events. It's just I was not that much involved. I don't represent the constituency. I'm not that important to Kathy Hochul for her to take me seriously. I'm a orthodox-looking Jewish male, but I don't represent a community. I work for my clients, and I have to make that.
But you do represent the community, Ezra.
I don't.
You are part. No, you do. You're part of my community. You're my neighbor. You're my friend. Your job is to help me as a religious Jew, and my job is to help you. You have a regular job and a life, but you do represent being a Jew and being part of the community and being a New York City resident, which we must help one another. I've seen you help other people. Don't tell me what you don't do. You do it, and you know you have to do it, and according to the Torah, you have to do it. But I love you for that reason, that you do good. But again, sometimes I don't believe in your. I want to ask you a question, a stupid question. First of all, Bill de Blasio, do you like him or not?
Actually, I do. Yeah.
Oh God!
I think at that point you answered all our questions. I'm not insulting you.
You
but
know
the guy was
what
the
he
worst
did
mayor.
to this city.
The guy was the worst mayor in American history, in New York history. He was the worst mayor.
Hang on, I'm boarding the plane now. Hold on a sec.
You should have a safe trip.
I want to ask him one more
That's
important
fine.
question.
That's
One
fine.
more important
It's
question.
fine. I think he answered all your questions with
No,
the last one.
Not the last one. The
The
most
last
important
one, I think
the most important one.
His answer right now is almost like Eric Adams saying that
He says he
gives up.
likes de Blasio, but he didn't answer if he was a good mayor or
I'm
not.
sure he thinks he
I know
was.
he was. I know.
I'm sure he thinks he was.
Yeah, he said the parks were going to be open
Look,
the next day, which was not true at all.
It's not. This is not a knock on Ezra personally. This is a knock on lobbyists. And
Right.
This is the problem.
That's my point. I'm not knocking Ezra
But
as
you-
a
but I
person.
think
I'm knocking all of his ideals.
It's not him. It's
that
not him.
he's
It's
not
the
allowed
industry.
to do what he's supposed to do,
It's
and
the-
he's not doing. Oh, Ezra,
Yes.
I want to ask you a question before we lose you. Trump or Biden?
Trump is not going to be the nominee.
How could that be?
I actually don't. This is where I actually agree with Ezra for right now. Looks right now he won't be the nominee, but okay.
By
But
the way,
so
I think
DeSantis or
Donald
Biden?
He overstayed his welcome in the Republican Party.
I don't disagree with you on
Really?
that. I
Ezra,
actually agree
you
with
really
him.
believe that
I actually agree with him.
with all the money he's going to raise and all the Trump the high diehard supporters in mid-America, he has no chance? Ezra?
Yeah.
Wow.
Look, our community became extremely un- thank you so much, becoming extremely uncomfortable with the notion that you have to engage when we want something and when we need something, we disregard who that person is. But before that, we'll attack, we'll critique, we'll criticize. I make a joke. We couldn't satisfy Moshe Rabbeinu, and he split the sea for us. I'm telling you, just look around and see what's happening. We are so dependent on government, on Democrats, on Republicans. We have to engage on every level, conservative, right-wing, left-wing, progressive, Republican, Democrat, as a community.
Okay, so can I just ask you just say you don't represent community. You represent the interests of individual clients. Is that correct?
Correct.
So it's not Oskiness, and it's not you're not a lobby like say Aguda is that they have their their constituency is their rebellion. That's their constituency.
Their constituency is the frum community.
It's the frum community as a frum community as dictated to them by their council, right? They have I think now 13 rabbis up there, 13 Rosh Yeshiva.
I think it's
maybe 15 now. Whatever. It used to be 11. I know they just had. So my question is, it's not the same thing when you say the community. Your community is not the community. Your community is a couple.
I'm just saying, as an observer, I'm allowed to point out the issues that how I observe what's transpiring as a citizen, as a member of the community, not in my professional capacity, but in my personal capacity. This is what I observe. I realize, for example, when they passed the First Step Act. I don't know if you remember, but it was actually signed by Donald Trump.
Yes.
It was a bipartisan bill. It required members of the House and Senate to agree on a bill. You needed to engage with Democrats, liberals, progressives, conservatives, and the only way to get it done was to engage with these elected officials. And I observed that I was not involved. I was involved in less than 1%. Not even probably less than 0. But I know that people who were Moshe Margaret and Tzedek, they had to engage with everyone. But you would be the first one to say that was a marvelous piece of legislation. But at the end of the day, they had to engage. They have to engage with elected officials that you have a problem with.
There's nothing wrong with that.
But that's a reckless position to take because we need to engage. Look at the Rashi, Yaakov Avinu with Esav.
There's nothing wrong with it.
Yes, but you're saying now it's nothing wrong. But at the beginning of the conversation,
no. I think you misstated. No, I think you're mischaracterizing.
Well, Ezra, the old saying.
You're mischaracterizing our questions.
The old saying, even a clock is right twice a day.
No, but you
of course, we're going to.
It's not an issue of clock. It's an issue of engagement. The community needs to understand that when they support candidates who cannot win, just to send a message, the message will be returned. Like the envelope is returned.
But that's not fair. That's not fair. That's not our freedom of America. America, you cannot punish somebody for not voting for you.
You could, but the thing is, you lose the next time around. You lose the next time around. But that's a cop out. You see, and that's a cop out. On a community level, that's a cop out. It's because hear me out. Hear me out again. On a community level, if we have a set of values, and a specific candidate, because he or she has a D near his or her name, okay, and you live in New York City, New York State, okay, where that guaranteed date is almost guaranteed to win. To say that we have to endorse you and vote for you because you're going to win anyway, even that you stand for everything that we stand against, is a cop-out. It's morally offensive. It's a cop-out.
It's not a cop-out because you're making the assumption that candidate stands against.
No, wait a second. We knew exactly where. Look, I think you're overstating your expertise. You're overstating your expertise and underestimating everyone else. Okay, there were people had a moral reason for voting the way they did. They had their own interests, and we had a community interest where crime is rampant in this community, where crime is rampant in our city, where the education system now is going to start interfering with parental and religious guidance. It's going to.
By the way, do you know that the Republican regions voted unanimously? Do you know that there are regions that are Republican?
Yes, I understand that.
Unanimously. So this was not a Democratic issue or Republican issue. This was a New York State education issue. It had nothing to do with
the problem is, and this is an overstatement. The Board of Regents is basically in placed there by the legislature.
Right.
So the Republicans on that Board of Regents have no real voice because they're so outnumbered anyway. And you'll have to agree with me that they outvoted before it starts because they're just the numbers in New York City, in New York State.
But they voted unanimously.
Because again, it doesn't behoove them not to. But again, you're taking a politician, you're taking a hack, a political hack, and you're trying to say now because they're going to win, and that's what they did. The community is wrong. I'm sorry, that's not right.
You're using pejorative words and not hacks. By the way, Lee Zeldin on the social issues is more similar to Kathy Hochul than you think. There are Republican bills that he supported on the social issues, which I'm not going to get into, that are basically the same ones like Democratic ones, a little bit different, but essentially the same. Those issues have been settled already, and you're harping on those issues. And frankly, you don't have a right to dictate to everyone what their position should be.
I'm not trying to.
Right. You could say your Reb told you to vote a certain way.
Again, but
and by the way, if people listen to their community, yes, that's a positive thing. I won't critique that. But the general flavor, the general atmosphere is that we have all become so strident in our political viewpoint that we see no room for compromise. And the opposing candidate is not the opposing candidate. He's the Satan. He's the devil.
To some extent, I agree with you.
I don't believe that.
I
never believe
that.
No,
to some extent, I agree with you.
We're running out of time. Ezra, I want to ask you a question. And this is a serious question. It has to do with us locally in our community where you live. Maimonides Hospital, I hate them, what they've done to a lot of our people. And I volunteer there, and I see the mismanagement.
I disagree with you on that as well, because every hospital has its issues. Do you know that there's a national labor shortage? Do you know that coming out of COVID, that every hospital has huge financial challenges?
That's a myth. They have billions of dollars. They please, Ezra, we see their payrolls. It's openly $1.5 million, $3 million. Bonuses. They lost $145 million, but they sold a $60 million property and turned it into homeless shelters. Come on, Ezra. Don't talk about money. They are given enough money to run. You know, I was screaming at my relatives who run nursing homes. You're billionaires, and they also told me the shortage. I said, take a little less money and be more worried about personal. Ezra, I'm in the hospital every day. Whatever you want to tell me, I see the mistreatment.
Heshy, it's a very populous issue. Maimonides is actually a gem in our community, and thousands of patients are treated there on an annual basis, tens of thousands.
And how many die of mismanagement or mistreatment? I saw 1,400 people during COVID. Mistreated, sitting in their dirty clothing, not being fed.
Do not bring in COVID, because COVID was an exceptionally challenging time for every hospital, for every single hospital. So I would not.
Not Cornell. Cornell, Columbia did a great job.
Yeah. I would not agree with you on that. There are a hospital that the community has this ability to benefit from, and it does benefit. It's a facility that I believe that every facility could services. Everyone understands that, and so does the hospital. And the hospital has always said that their mission is to improve. And they just won now an award from the U.S. News and World Report.
Yeah, we saw that. That's a fake award. Please.
Hospitals in cardiac care.
Cardiac.
In heart attack survival, they are, I think, the top 10 in the nation.
There's a lot to do with
it. Just throw out those baselines.
A lot of people. I speak to the doctors and nurses. A lot of them are leaving or going to different jobs. But I want you to know, Ezra, you don't support. Don't tell me, Ezra. This is my expertise. I'm there every day. I speak to them.
You can find fault with every hospital. When you treat tens of thousands of patients, you'll always have issues, but by and large, they're a hospital that goes way beyond the call of duty to accommodate the orthodox.
Are you against the Save Maimonides campaign?
Excuse me?
Are you against the Save Maimonides people campaign?
Absolutely.
Okay. That's what I want today. Ezra, I want you to have a safe trip. Our show is coming to the end. You were very informative. As you see, I wasn't in any way disrespectful. Everybody thought I was going to fight with you. I wanted to hear your opinions. I wanted you to tell us and put us on the right path and tell us, of course, Trump is not going to win, which I disagree with you. I'd like to see you in the year, but I know you're always right. Yeah. I believe that Trump is going to crush it. I believe he's going to come back, and he's going to be the greatest second-term president ever to exist.
Okay.
I love you. Have a safe trip in Washington, and try to make sure that you get us some money for our mental health and postpartum depression. Ezra, we are in trouble. Look into that. We're in big trouble here. Our Jewish men and women in our community in the thousands are losing it, and we need help, and I'd like you to look into it. Have a great week. Are you going to be there for the weekend, or are you coming home for Shabbos?
I'm coming home after some tomorrow night.
I'm going to come. I'm wishing you luck, and I'm going to walk by your shul, and I hope you give me a drink and don't charge me.
We're short on rum. Bring your own refreshments.
Look at Mr. Lapius. I knew it. You got to bring your own stuff.
Have a safe trip.
Have a safe trip.
Bring us some cheap Williamsburg.
No, Ezra. No, Ezra. I'm bringing you a bottle of Blue Label. Trust me.
All right, we wouldn't know what to do with it.
I love you.
Have a safe trip.
Have a safe trip, Ezra. Thank you.
Bye. Take care. Good night.
Okay.
So, just one thing. I think we have 2 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So just the whole Trump thing, and I'm talking.
Yeah.
We're both.
I want to hear your Trump.
So
you know he says no chance.
No, I'm not gonna say he has no chance. Right now, it doesn't look good for him.
Why?
Because even the Republicans are sick of him.
The Santos are not running against him.
I don't think that. I mean,
The Democrats are sick of Biden.
No, yeah, that too. I don't think Biden.
You don't think Biden's going to run either? I should ask him that.
I think he's going to run. I don't know if he's going to win. That's the problem. He's been a terrible president.
But nobody's running against him.
Well, the problem is this: Biden was emboldened by last week's defeat that Republicans had. The Republicans did terribly in the midterms.
What are you talking about? They took over the house. Lenny! Oh my God, Lenny! Yeah, I can't believe we got it.
Just go for a second because you only got a minute or two for the show.
Yeah.
The guy's disillusional. He doesn't know that I live in Staten Island, and I know my Mondelez is on the brink of disaster because they're losing so much money. The CEO lives up in upper Manhattan. He says he likes de Blasio. Well, how come he never asks de Blasio's wife with a $1.5 billion? Right? He loves Hochul when you never seen so many attacks that even Deborah Habelstein's yelling that her son Shamika got ripped off by the Barclays Center. Wait and see, my friends. Wait and see. He played it safe. He's like a coward. He went for the people that he knew that he hoped would win, and he could get in bed with them. Well, you know what? Between the migrants and the low income, you're lucky if you got $1 left for the Jewish communities, and he's going to find that out, my friend.
Well,
he's going to find that out.
He's a lobbyist. He doesn't really care. He goes where the winner is.
He goes where
unless he's got that electric garage door opener and he gets his car into the garage at night, he better hope that there ain't nobody lurking the streets with the snow bear bulls. Okay?
Okay, thanks.
Electric garage door opener and gets that car in his garage. He ain't as safe as anybody thinks they are.
Lenny, before I let you go, are you happy Trump announced, and do you think he has a chance?
Yes, I am. I mean, DeSantis is going to probably throw in whoever it is. I would love to see Trump and then DeSantis for the next 8 years. And maybe before I drop dead in this world, we could see America turn back to John Wayne's day and see a beautiful country again.
Yeah, that would be good.
Lenny, thanks for your service again. Thanks for the phone call, Lenny.
I love you, Lenny. Thank you for calling me. You're a good man. I'll speak to you next week. Okay, you see?
Yes,
Lenny saw right through.
I think a lot of people did. I mean, look, again, Ezra's entitled to make a living, and I think the one thing he's been honest about is he's not representing the community; he's representing his clients. And that's everything you say.
I represent my clients. My clients like your client. Ezra. No, Ezra. I'm going to let you talk.
Fine.
Ezra, my clients do bad things like your clients.
Yes.
But I teach them how to change and get into compliance because if they don't follow, I drop them like you. Okay. If your client keeps going out and shooting people, I'm sure you're not going to go back and help him again.
Fine. I agree with you. But the thing is, I think you have to understand, I'm not justifying what he does, but I think I'm giving context to his opinions. His opinions are based on he's not there. He's there to represent his clients, and he also, has invested financial interest, okay, in making sure that those who he's had built contacts with stay in power.
I don't know, Ezra. My wife told me the other day, says, Heshy, can you stop doing what we're doing? Let's just go out and make money. I said, Linda, I look back through my 35 years, and I don't believe that if I would have been a billionaire today, I would have been happy. I'm happier today that I'm surrounded by my family, that I don't have to be one of those guys that are dying tomorrow morning and have to run and say, oh, come support me and sit with me and cry with me. I want to kiss you. I know I've been kissing them for 35 years. I don't regret my 35 years of community service because I've done it the right way. I've done it with honor. To make $1 billion like Bill Gates and all these other people and not care about family and not have people there alone. What was that guy from Apple who died? What's his big name?
Steve Jobs.
Steve Jobs. You heard what his comments were. He lost everything. He didn't have family. He didn't have anybody that cared about him. He wasted. He said his life was wasted. I made money. I didn't make the billions of dollars. I could have made more money. I could have given away less, but I believed in serving my community. I believed in serving my family. And I believed yesterday when I went to a wedding and there was 100 nephews and nieces of mine over there, they all came kissing and loving me and knowing me. That is what my $1 billion is.
I agreed.
And that was it. Thank you, everybody, for listening to my show. Thank you, Lenny. Thank you, Ezra, for coming on the show. And we weren't too tough on you, Ezra. I know that. We should have been a little bit more harder on you. And I'm telling you that Trump is going to crush it. I don't know why Lee Zeldin lost. We were dumbbells. And that's it. And we're going to make changes. And I know that Ezra didn't answer the question, is our time better? But you heard what he said. He said that he's happy with the representation you have. Carmen Yeager, Simcha Felder, Simcha Eichenstein. I love Simcha Eichenstein. I'm friends with Carmen Yeager, whether I'm going to run against him or not. By the way, I'm switching parties this week
I'm
to
glad to hear
Republican. I'm switching to Republican, me, Linda, my kids. But Simcha Felder, he defended a man that has not showed up. He's a great legislator. The man hasn't showed up in Albany in 2 years. How did he defend a man?
Again, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, you see that as well. Thank you, everybody. Watch my come back to the show next week. We're going to have a real wonderful guest. Go ahead, my beautiful, what is
Producer.
Producer, play the music. Say goodnight.